Hi guys, and welcome back to I Speak English. My name's Hayley, and in this lesson I'm going to be showing you how to do the keyword transformation task in the Cambridge C1 Advanced exam. So if you are studying for Cambridge C1 or Cambridge B2, because this will also be useful as well, stick around here and by the end of this video you'll know exactly how to complete your keyword transformation, how to get those right words, and how to know what exactly you need to change. So it's just going to be a super easy strategy that you can use. It's just a couple of steps, and then once you practice with it a couple of times, you'll see that your score will improve. So stick around here with me. Before we take a look at that, do make sure that you are subscribed and you hit the bell so that you get a notification from me every time I upload new videos. New videos every Saturday, and I upload shorts every single day as well. So if you want to keep learning English for free every week, make sure that you're subscribed and you can come back the next week and watch our next episode. Right, let's get started then. So as I said in the introduction, I'm going to give you a super easy strategy for doing your keyword transformation. Your strategy looks something like this. It's just a few steps, and we're going to go through each step in detail in this video. Okay, so your first thing you need to do is understand what exactly you're being tested on. Cambridge C1, you'll be tested on grammar and vocabulary in this task, but you need to understand the exact grammar and the exact vocabulary in order to complete that second sentence. And I'm going to show you in a second all of the grammar that you get tested on and all of the vocabulary as well. So that's step number one. Step number two, we're going to find similarities between the sentences. Number three, we're going to replace that key word. Okay, and then number four, we're going to insert hopefully the correct words and then check. So we're going to go through each one of these steps now in detail. Okay, it's not that simple, but once I show you all of the steps in detail, you'll be able to pick out the exact words that you need, ignore the information that you don't need, and just kind of concentrate on those words that you need to change. So, as we said, our first step is what are you tested on? Okay, so I've been teaching this exam for 10 years. And I've looked at hundreds and hundreds of keyword transformation tasks, and I have noticed a pattern. I've noticed that they tend to test you on about 6 key grammar points that kind of always pop up in keyword transformation, and there's about 3 different vocabulary points that they test you on as well. This is me having looked at hundreds of these tasks, and I have found this pattern. So what are you tested on? Your key grammar points. Like I said, there's about 6 of them. Comparatives and superlatives, they often test you on these. Not necessarily like you'll get the word hot and you need to change it to hotter. It's not going to be that easy. They generally test you on like as much as or not as. They also test you on using like quantifiers with comparatives. So it was far more something than something else, or it was way less whatever than something else. So they tend to test you in that way with comparatives. Okay. Reported speech is your second thing that they test you on. Again, it would be too easy if they just put like a direct speech and then you have to change it to reported speech. It's a bit too easy. They generally test you on like 3 particular verbs, which are recommend, suggest, and advise, because these verbs have different patterns, sentence patterns that go with them. So you could say, for example, I recommend that you do whatever, or she recommended doing whatever. So it's kind of it's quite common that you'll get, for example, suggest in the first sentence and then recommend in the second sentence, and then you'll have to figure out which sentence pattern goes with that word. Okay, So that's reported speech. Next up, passive forms, always a passive form. Always check where your subject and object are in each sentence, okay? Always. Because if you'll notice that your object has suddenly switched places in the second sentence, that generally tells you you need a passive form, okay? Hypotheticals, there's always one. So if sentences, it might be a third conditional, it might be a mixed conditional, it might be with I wish and if only. If you're not sure about I wish and if only, if you don't know how to do it, I'll put a video, check this video up here. That's specific for the Cambridge C1 exam as well. They can get a bit tricky, I wish and if only, because the tenses don't match like the meaning. So go take a look at that if you're not sure how to do I wish and if only. But hypothetical forms for sure. Clef sentences, this is a big one. Clef sentences are a key grammar point at C1. So it's like a clef sentence is what, for example, what I didn't like about this was. So you start your sentence with what, or you can also have it. It was that I didn't like about. So if your sentence, let's say your second sentence starts with what or it, you probably need a clef sentence. Again, if you don't know what clef sentences are, take a look up here. I've got another video for you there if you're not sure. And inversion is your final grammar point that they test you on, where you need to put a negative adverb at the start of the sentence and invert your subject and auxiliary verb. For example, never have I been to such a terrible restaurant, instead of I have never been. Okay. Again, if you're not sure about inversion, take a look up here. I've got another video for you there, again specific to the Cambridge C1 exam, if you're not sure about any of these grammar points. But they're the 6 grammar points you're generally tested on. Okay, they pop up all the time. I see them all the time in these keyword transformations. They're your grammar points. Your 3 lexical points, linking words. Why linking words? Because they take different sentence patterns. Again, for example, despite going to the shop, blah, blah, blah. Whereas you could say, although I went to the shop. So you might get although in the first sentence, and in the second sentence they put despite. And you need to know that despite can only take a verb and ing, not a subject-verb-object form. Okay, so watch out for linking words, phrasal verbs all the time. If you get as your keyword, if you get either a verb or a preposition, they're probably testing you on a phrasal verb. Okay, and set expressions. Yeah. Set expressions are really hard because if you don't know the expression, you don't know the expression. It's really annoying. So you might get something like, your first sentence might be, it's useless to blah, blah, blah. And in your second sentence, you might get the keyword point. And you need to put there's no point in. So there's no point would be a set expression. But again, if you don't know the expression, you just don't know it. It's really annoying. Actually, what I'll do to make things easier for you, in the description, click the description and I'll put some flashcards in there with set expressions on them so that you can learn lots of set expressions. That will really help you for your keyword transformation. Okay. Right, so that's what you're tested on. Again, let's take a look at some examples here then for your keyword transformation. So passive forms, like I said, what do you notice about the position of the object in these sentences? So we've got they've demolished the old houses and replaced them with new ones. And then we've got the old houses have with new ones. Take a look at your object. What do you notice about your object here? Give you a few seconds. Your object has changed places. So your object is the old houses, and all of a sudden it's gone right to the start of our sentence. that tells you that you need a passive form. If your object is at the start of a sentence, your sentence will be passive. Okay. And you can see that the subject, has completely disappeared from this second sentence here. Okay. The old houses have with new ones. Again, in a passive sentence, we know that the subject is optional. You don't need a subject in your passive sentence. So that tells you you need a passive form. Okay, so this is what you should be doing in the exam. Looking, okay, where's my subject, where's my object? If they don't change place, then they're probably not testing you on a passive form. Okay. So that's what passive forms will look like. You can also see here, your keyword is a verb. As I said to you before, if your keyword is a verb or maybe a preposition, they're probably testing you on phrasal verbs. Okay, and you can see here from our answer, the old houses have been pulled down and replaced with new ones. So you've got a phrasal verb. So you were tested on passive for your grammar point and phrasal verbs for your vocabulary point in that one. Okay, so this is your first step. This is what you have to do. Take a look at your grammar. What are they testing you on? Go through that list in your head, those 6 things. Take a look at your vocabulary. What are they testing you on? Linking words, phrasal verbs, set expressions, collocations, possibly. They might have a collocation in there as well. So we've got passive forms, inversion, like I said, another big one. So you might get something similar to this. You will rarely see art so beautiful. You've got such. And you can see here that your negative adverb is at the start of your sentence. Okay, if you have a negative adverb at the start of your sentence, that sentence will probably be an inversion. Right? Again, if you're not sure about inversion, take a look up there. I've got a video for you if you're not sure how to do it. But we normally have a negative adverb, and then you need to switch your subject and your auxiliary verb to complete the sentence. And then we need to add in such as well. All right, I'm going to give you a few seconds then. Take a look again at this sentence and try and complete it if you can. Okay, put a timer up here. Give you 5 seconds, off you go. All right, what did you go for then? How did you complete this sentence? Rarely. Like I said, we need to invert the auxiliary verb, which is will, and our subject, which is you. So we'd get rarely will you see, and then such. You needed to add in your keyword as well. Okay, rarely will you see such beautiful art. Okay, so that's what we've got to do in the exam. Again, look, what are they testing me on for my grammar? Go through that list in your head of those 6 things. Are they testing you on anything for vocabulary? Okay, this is our strategy for our exam. Okay, and phrasal verbs again. So you can see we've got off here, our word off. So that probably means you need a phrasal verb. So we've got the lesson will be postponed until next week, the teacher said. If you look, we've also got direct speech here. We've got off, and the teacher said the lesson until the following week. All right, so we've got direct speech here, and we've got indirect or reported speech here. So your grammar point is reported speech, and you need a phrasal verb with off. Okay, try and think what that replaces in this top sentence as well. I'll give you 5 seconds to try and complete this sentence. Off you go. All right, what do you reckon? Did you get it? The lesson will have to be postponed until next week, the teacher said. The teacher said the lesson would have to be put off until the following week. Okay, so we've got put off as our phrasal verb, which means postpone. Would have to be because you have direct speech. When we change will into direct speech, it becomes would. Okay, would have to be put off. All right, so that's exactly what you need to do for your first step. Figure out exactly what they're testing you on grammar-wise and vocabulary-wise. Okay. Moving on to our second step. Actually, before we move on to our second step, just to let you know, I do have a keyword transformation video course. If you're really struggling with keyword transformation, it is a really hard task. Everyone hates this task, and I don't blame you. It is really tricky. But if you are struggling, I do have a video course. It's about 4 hours of video lessons with me. It includes lots of interactive games and quizzes, flashcards for vocabulary, grammar points. I give you easy strategies to use, and you just get general expert advice from me after 10 years of teaching this. You know, I know this like the back of my hand. If you're really struggling, this course will really help you. The link's in the description. I put a little discount code in the description for you so you can get it a bit cheaper. So if you are interested, the link's in the description for you there with a little discount code. Have a look, and hopefully you can improve your score that way as well. All right, moving on to step 2. So our step 2 was to highlight all of the similar words in the given sentence and the test sentence, and then ignore them, okay? That might sound a bit weird, because obviously, I need to somehow look at this sentence. No, you need to look at only specific words that you have to change. If you're looking at all the words, you're going to get confused. So highlight those similar words in both sentences and then just ignore them because you don't need them. You just need to focus on the words that you have to change, which is only going to be 3 to 6 words maximum, okay? So for example, let's take a look. So we've got Julie left her job because she was pregnant. Keyword is resulted. You've got Julie's and her job. So if we were in the exam, we would go through this now and highlight similar words in both sentences, okay? So for example, that would look like, so we've got Julie and Julie, they're similar. We've got her job and her job, okay? The rest we need to change. So now what's left in black, we know we have to change left because she was pregnant. And we've also got this S here on the end, this possessive S. So we know these are the words that we have to concentrate on. Okay, so we can basically ignore her job and Julie. That's not relevant to us because we don't have to change it. Okay, so got left because she was pregnant and this possessive S. That's all we have to change. Okay. Right, so that's step 2. Highlight those keywords, similar words, and then just ignore them, basically. Step 3. Our step 3 is to look at the word you get given, the keyword, and then understand which word it replaces in the sentence you get given. Ask yourself, do you need to add anything to this word? Okay. For example, let's take a look then. So the same sentence, our keyword is resulted. So now we need to take a look at this first sentence here and think, what word is resulted going to replace in this second sentence? Okay, so let's take a look. Julie left her job because she was pregnant. Which one of these words is resulted going to replace? It can't be her job because we've got her job. It can't be Julie because we've got Julie. So it's either left because she was pregnant. What do you think? What's it going to replace? It's going to be because, right? Because a result is why something happens. So we've probably got because. And then I have a think, do you think you need anything to add anything to the word resulted in order for it to mean the same as because? Is there like a full expression or a set expression for resulted? Also, what type of word is resulted in because? Is it a phrasal verb? Is it a linking word? Is it a set expression? It's a linking word. Because or resulted are linking words. Okay. Resulted in is the same as saying because. All right, so that's step 3. Get your keyword, what does it replace from that first sentence? Okay, step 4, Look at your subject and your object, always, okay? Check the position of your subject and object. You're often required to make 2 changes to a sentence, usually a grammar change and a vocabulary change. So make sure you're checking where your subject and object are. Like we said before, you might have to change to a passive form. If your object moves to the front of your sentence, it might be a passive form. So always check the structure of your sentence. And then step 5 is to insert, hopefully, the correct words, and then check. Make sure you check everything, okay? In particular, spelling. A lot of people lose marks in spelling on this task, so definitely check your spelling. Tenses, this is another place where people just lose marks for silly mistakes. If your first sentence is in, let's say, past simple, your second sentence should be in past simple. If you write all of the correct words, but your verb is in present instead of past, you're not going to get the point, okay? So you need to make sure, check that everything in that top sentence reflects in the bottom sentence, in tense, in like the number, in the number of your subject or your object, if it's plural or singular. Make sure your verb matches your subject, okay, in number. Make sure everything is it's like a mirror image, okay? It's like the same. Okay, so insert the correct words, and remember, do not change the word you get given. That keyword, don't change it in any way. It has to stay the same, and you can only use between 3 to 6 words, okay? For C1 level, you can only use 3 to 6 words. All right, so let's take a look then. That sentence we already saw. Let's use our strategy then. So we've already highlighted the stuff that's similar. We've got Julie, we've got her job. We know that resulted is going to replace because, okay? We know that we're being tested on a linking word because, again, we've got resulted, which is resulted in, which is a linking word, okay? So that's our vocabulary. Grammar-wise, we're testing you on anything. We've got this S over here, which is a possessive. So we know after a possessive, we need a noun, which means you're probably going to have to change something from this sentence into a noun. Okay. I'm going to give you about 10 seconds. Let's see if you can complete this sentence on your own. Have a look. Off you go. All right, time's up. What do you reckon? Write in the comments your answer. What did you get? You should have written Julie's pregnancy. So we needed to change pregnant into a noun to go with this possessive S. Julie's pregnancy resulted in, okay, and then we needed the correct sentence pattern. Okay, so resulted in, if we use a verb, we normally use a verb in ing, or you can use a noun, okay? So resulted in her leaving her job. All right, so it was testing you on sentence patterns, and it was testing you on linking words as well. All right, so there you go. That's how you do keyword transformation for Cambridge C1, okay? That's your simple strategy. Figure out what they're testing you on, number 1. Highlight similarities and then ignore those similarities. Focus on the words you only need to change. Step 3, look at your keyword. What does it replace in your first sentence? Step 4, look at your subject and object. Look at your sentence structure in general. Has it changed? Step 5, insert the correct words. Check your spelling, check your tense, check that everything matches. Okay. That's your strategy for keyword transformation. Use it, go and practice it as much as you can, and hopefully you should see your score improve little by little the more that you practice it. So if you found this video useful, please do give it a like. It just helps the video to reach more people so that they can improve their English and hopefully pass their C1 exam as well. Also gives me a bit more motivation to keep making more videos for you. Do make sure you're subscribed and you hit the bell as well so that you can get weekly videos from me and daily shorts as well. You can keep studying for free every week. And if there's anything about the Cambridge C1 exam that you want to know or you're not sure about, or if there's any video that you would like me to make, leave me a little comment and I'll try and get a video made for you to clear up a grammar point or vocabulary, something like that. Okay. Alright, that's all from me for now. I'll see you in another video soon. Bye.